Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Slant Walk Sports. I'm Zachary,
I'm Kethan Babu.
and we're going to dive right into our first episode here. I think we start and introduce ourselves. I'm Zachary. I'm a sophomore here at Miami, studying sports communication and media.
Yep, I'm Kethan Babu. It's spelled like Ethan with a K, sounds like Nathan with a K. I'm a senior journalism and finance major here, and I'm the sports editor for our campus newspaper, the Miami Student.
Yeah, and we are excited to start this new page up and do a weekly podcast along with sports writing from different games here at Miami. So I say we jump right into it and talk about the elephant in the room with Miami football heading up to Wisconsin this
Going to Camp
Thursday.
Randall. Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
I am so excited. I don't know if I told you, I spent the summer in Oxford interning, and just seeing students come back, it kind of fills me with joy because it's like that means football's coming back. And
yeah,
I cannot tell you how excited I am because I've been missing it, man. Baseball doesn't do it for me, unfortunately.
yeah. I'm really excited too. Miami going to Wisconsin, two Big Ten opponents back to back. Then they'll head to Rutgers next week, which should be another good game. But let's focus on this week, and I say we talk about start with the offense and how this new offense will look.
I agree. And the elephant in the room, I think we both agree, is new quarterback. First time since, was it 2019? Brett Gabbert is not going to be behind center for the Redhawks. If you watch Daquan Finn, very clearly you can see, look at his ESPN stats. He is experienced. He has history in the MAC, obviously at Toledo. He has history at a power program at BYU, or Baylor rather. So just seeing him finally get comfortable with the Red Hawk program, obviously it takes a little bit of time. I don't think anyone expected him to be fully there in the spring, but finally seeing him as well as the transfer wide receivers be more comfortable is a sight to see if you go to practice right now.
Yeah, Daquan Finn, the 2023 MAC Offensive Player of the Year for Toledo, and then going to Baylor, and then coming back to the MAC. So the thing about Finn, which I'm really excited about, is he adds more of a dual threat option. Gabbert was mobile at times, but we saw last year, like in the Northwestern game, there was times when he could have ran, or he could have ran for more, and it's just you didn't see that from him.
Right.
He got better as the season went on, obviously, but there was at times when you just all he would do is stand in the pocket and just get hit sometimes.
Yeah, and I think part of
Um,
it is you just look at his injury record. You can't fault him for that. But when you have as many long-term injuries as he does, can you blame him for not wanting to take off out of the pocket? I can't. But I do totally agree with you. I think seeing him, I almost compare him to Lamar Jackson on the Ravens, right? Where
mhm.
is he going to take off run every single play? No, and I don't think he should. But to be able to have a quarterback that can do that if he needs to, and I've seen that at practice a couple times. Oh boy, especially in those first early games where maybe that connection with the wide receivers isn't 100% there, it's going to be a positive for the Redhawks in these early games, especially against power programs back to back.
Yeah. And along with that, I mean, you also look at like Wisconsin and other teams like scheming part of it. Wisconsin hasn't seen this Miami offense on tape. I mean, they
Right.
haven't seen Daquan Finn with Kenny Tracy, and all the other guys, Cam Perry, Cole Weaver. Like they haven't seen any of that. So there's not really. I mean, obviously you can watch the plays and see how everything's coached, but they don't know. Finn is set like that's all new to them, which could add an element of surprise. So I think Miami needs to take advantage of that early and often and try to get those opportunities.
100%. I think last season I asked Coach about this at the press conference. It's pretty similar to this year going on the road against a Big Ten team. Obviously, this year you got to do it twice. But going on the road against Northwestern last year, you watched that game where at halftime it was close. It was not a
Yeah,
one-sided game by any means. We were talking Miami could have ran away with it. They made some couple mistakes, shot themselves in the foot a little bit. But to see that we can compete against Big Ten teams is clear. I think anyone can see that by watching the game. We just need to, for lack of a better word, lock in, right? Like there are some things where it's self-inflicted mistakes, it's nerves. Some of the new players, freshman players, or incoming transfers, they're just not quite used to playing at Miami yet. But this is going to be an early test, and I truly believe that Miami, it's going to be 15 minutes. The first quarter is going to set this tone for the rest of the game. They cannot go two offensive drives without scoring. I think if they can get a field goal at least on their first two offensive drives, they really have a good chance of making this a close game.
Yeah, and you talked about keeping it a close game. You look at, the game versus Notre Dame last year, the team that went to the national championship.
Right.
After the first quarter, it was 3-0, and it should have been more. We had the blocked punt. I remember there was a red zone interception after a bad play from Gabbert. So like something like that, obviously, the other three quarters didn't go the way we wanted. And who knows if we scored more, we would have won, whatever.
Right.
But that's a good example of Miami shooting themselves in the foot versus a good team. When you have opportunities early and often, you take advantage, and you never know what could happen.
I think it really is going to be a good test for the wide receivers. And this is if I had to pick one position that I'm most interested in, quarterback might be number one, obviously with Daquan Finn as the new guy. Number two, and arguably number one, is going to be wide receiver, because we're losing Javon Tracy and Reggie Virgil, which are two standout players for us, and they're going to be phenomenal at the programs they both ended up at. Mm-hmm. But just the incoming transfer players, we have experience, and it's going to be a long way, not just experience, but experience at notable programs. You got guys from Notre Dame, Colorado, Washington, FSU. Like, these are guys that not only know college football, they know a high level of college football. So that connection with a new quarterback and the new wide receivers that have both played college football previously but are playing in red and white for the first time, I think we both agree the first couple offensive drives, they really need to get it together at Camp Randall.
Yeah, and I mean, these new guys, and you look at Javon Tracy and Reggie Virgil that left the program after last year, and then those big losses. But the guys are returning, like Cole Weaver and Cam Perry. And I think Cam Perry is set for a really good year. We saw a little bit of the Colorado State game, the Snoop Dogg Bowl, that he's very shifty. And we saw throughout the season as well. He didn't have a ton of catches, but the catches that he did have, he made some good moves with the ball. And that's a guy that Miami needs to lean on. He's been in the offense before. He's fast. He can get you good run after catch yards. And I think that'll be a good target for Finn early and often.
Absolutely. And Cole Weaver, he's a sophomore, I want to say, and we can check that later. So he's a young player, but he is – did you watch the Eastern Michigan game last season? He had an amazing catch for a touchdown. It was his first reception as a college player, and he went for a touchdown. He is probably the player I'm keeping my eyes on the most. Even with his youth, I believe Daquan Finn, you look out for Cole Weaver. That's all I'm going to say on the matter.
Yeah. And then looking at running backs with, Kenny Tracy, one of two senior running backs in this team, the other one, Jordan Brunson. A lot of the other guys are, underclassmen and young. So, what could we see with that? Kenny Tracy, very athletic as a running back, and we talked about Daquan Finn, saying kind of gave him a little bit of like Lamar Jackson nod. That dual threat could really open up the offense here.
Absolutely. I think Kenny Tracy and Jordan Brunson are two fantastic names. It's a shame we didn't see too much of Kenny Tracy last season, but looking at Jordan Brunson last season, even with a running back room Miami had last season with Keon Mosey and Kevin Davis, Jordan Brunson somehow made a name for himself. I think it's pretty cool to see three running backs on the same roster be able to stand out in their own ways. So having one of those returners coming back, and then obviously having Kenny Tracy back as a healthy player, is going to be huge, especially for not just a young and new running back room, but young and new offensive line. That offensive line is basically brand new compared to last season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things I'm also really excited about is for the environment. Wisconsin's a Big Ten team. They're patented jump around. Their school, by the time the game will start, their school hasn't started yet. But I mean, it's like from last year, Miami playing in the Notre Dame crowd. They know what it's like for these big games. But do you think that it could have any impact on that?
100%. And that's anytime Miami plays a power program, Chuck Martin, he always makes sure to tell us at the press conference that he tells his players, like, no matter what he says, there's no way that he can 100% tell them what they're getting in. He said this last week. He said that he can tell them, he can show them as many videos, as many photos, but those players are going to have to determine for themselves if they're ready to play college football once they get to that stadium. I think a big thing that's going to impact this game is the time. So this is a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and look. Miami, they opened the season on a Saturday. Like they've been used to that for several years now. And now they're playing Thursday night at a Big Ten team at it's 8 p.m. their time. It's 9 p.m. our time. So
Hmm.
it's pretty late for what they're used to. But even with the students not moving in yet, Wisconsin is just the state itself is so ingrained in football where
Yeah.
that crowd is going to have a huge impact on the game. At the same time, Miami players, they're no strangers to playing in big crowds. They played at Notre Dame last season. That was a huge crowd. They played at
Hmm.
Northwestern. They've played at Ohio State. And that was a couple years ago. It was before we were even here. But they're not strangers to it, but it is always a new experience every time you do. And the fact that it is a midweek night game will be even more different.
Yeah. And in my mind, where the environment, the stadium comes in is like, with the kind of new offensive line, sort of with Daquan Finn, loud noise. How does that, work into the
Being able to
play
hear.
calling,
Yeah.
like signals? And then, we've seen it very quickly that can turn into many false starts and other technical, stupid penalties that that self inflicted.
You saw that
Um,
at Notre Dame. Absolutely.
yeah.
And again, no matter how much you try and explain it to these players, I imagine I'm not a football coach by any means, but I imagine as a football coach, there's just no way that you can 100% get them to understand just how loud and just how noisy, just how bright it's going to be,
Yeah.
just how rowdy and raucous. So, but I at the same time, Daquan Finn, he has experience, and I hope he can use his experience both as a college football player in the MAC and at Baylor to lead that team of new and young offensive players.
Yeah. And then shifting over a little bit to the defense, where they lost a couple guys, Matt Salapak, and some others, but guys like Salas Walters are returning. I'm trying to remember the name, the D lineman. He was number 8. Um,
Number 8. I don't know if he's number 8. Nazir Washington is coming back.
yeah, I forget his name. He was last year, but regardless, lost a couple guys that knew the Miami defense pretty well.
Coy Beasley.
Um,
Is that who you're thinking about?
yes,
Yep.
maybe. Let me. Um,
It is true. Similar to the offense, several players lost both to graduation and to the transfer portal. I think that's the new reality for a Group 5
yeah,
program like us. So losing guys like Brian Ugu to graduation and losing guys like
Ugo. That's what I was thinking about.
yeah,
Yeah,
Rayon Strader to Auburn, I believe is where he went. Ended up. Um, it is sad to see. I think defense is arguably in a better position as far as returns coming back than offense, just because of
hmm
guys like Silas Walters, Corbin Hondrew, and Adam Trick. Those are the big three that kind of stick out to me. Nazir Washington can throw him in there as well. Um, there is experience there. There is guys coming back after playing a couple years at Miami that already know a little bit about the program that should be able to help out those young players. But it is very similar to the offense in many ways, and that I imagine coaches don't want to see of players transferring out or graduating and having to deal with basically a whole new roster.
yeah. Like you said, that's pretty much college football now. You have one good year, and then you off to bigger and better things, basically.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate. Speaking of bigger and better things, Cam McDonald and Gage Larvadan, both on the
Oh yeah,
Browns.
killing it.
Uh, they had decent pre. I remember. I think Cam McDonald got pretty shook up in the third preseason game for the Browns. He may have he got. I mean, it was like a blind side. He could be concussed. I'm not sure. I haven't looked,
I sure
but
hope not.
yeah. But they both had pretty good preseasons for the struggling Browns offense.
I saw
So good
Gage
for them.
Larberton. He caught a, I don't know if it was his first touchdown, but he caught a touchdown in 2 games ago, maybe last game
Yeah,
even. I saw that on Twitter, but you love to see someone that was once in the red and white making a serious step to playing on an NFL field.
yeah, um, definitely. So um, yeah, I'm really really excited for this game. Um, looking at further down the season as well. Um, on the road again next week against Rutgers, and then
And
home
that's always so
against
tough to
yeah,
play not only back-to-back road games to start the season, back-to-back road games against Big Ten teams. And you can make an argument that either of these are tougher crowds. You're playing Thursday night at Wisconsin, that's a tough crowd. But you're also playing an afternoon game on Saturday at Rutgers. It's going to be
yeah,
equally tough, probably a large crowd even. So an argument could be made that both of those are not going to be great as road matchups. But finally coming home against UNLV, I'm excited for that one. Ox Vegas, man.
yeah. I mean, they were like, don't forget, they were ranked last year.
Right.
They were top 25 in the nation. Um, so it's that's also. I mean, these are three very very formidable opponents that Miami's starting out with. Some less than others, but um, it's we are up to another big task.
Yeah. And the Rutgers matchup in particular, I was talking about this earlier with a couple of our writers. They play Ohio week 1. I believe that's on the Saturday. Oh, it might be on the Thursday, but they play Ohio week 1, and we'll have to look at what Ohio's rosters look like. I don't know what their odds are right now, but
Mm-hmm.
I see, me personally speaking, I see us coming away with either one win against Wisconsin or Rutgers. And I think a large of that depends on how Ohio does against Rutgers. If it's a close game, if Ohio somehow squeaks out a win over Rutgers, I think we have a much better chance going on the road against them.
Yeah. Um, I
And
think.
maybe
I
that's a
mean,
bold claim. Let me preface by
yeah.
saying,
Um, I mean, last year Miami's first couple of opponents, Northwestern, Notre Dame, Cincinnati, like again starting out very, with the not a gauntlet, but the hard the
3
hardest
tough
part of the
matchups,
season.
absolutely.
Yeah, and then that's why it's always so hard to like look at like top 25 for this team because if they're going to start out, 1-2, and then they have games versus kind of Akron and some of the easier schools. It just shows it doesn't tell a big story. That they were able to overcome the big teams.
Oh yeah, for a group of 5 team and a group of 5 team in the Mid American Conference at that, starting out 1-2, maybe even 0-3. We're knock on wood on that. Uh, very tough, borderline impossible to crack the top 25.
Yeah. Another thing, and this is a UNLV. They have one of their defensive analysis is Vontez Perfect. That's
I
recent
saw
news.
that. Yeah,
Yeah. So he'll probably be in the press box. I don't think he can technically be on the sideline during the game if he's not an actual coach.
that's a bit of a
Um,
homecoming for him. He was a Bengal. It's a
yeah, he
little
was a
ways away
long.
from
He's
Cincinnati, but same area.
yeah. The person who may be credited with Antonio Brown. But yeah, good for him. That'll be cool. He'll be around, but yeah, I mean, I'm like I said, I'm really excited for this year. They ended off on a good note last year with CSU.
Mhm.
So hopefully they can carry some of that into Wisconsin.
You hope so, because even if you did end it on a good note, I imagine the players and the coaches would like to have a redo at the MAC championship last year. I certainly would like
Yeah.
to see a redo of the MAC championship last year. But
Hmm.
if you look at the MAC schedule just for the Redhawks, they start out against Rhode against Northern Illinois. That could be a tough matchup, but previous years I think Miami will have an edge here. It could be different knowing that Northern Illinois is leaving the MAC. Maybe they want to take it a little more serious in the conference and end on a good note. But road matchup is always tough. Going on the road against Akron, I'm going to give it to the Redhawks and just not elaborate there. Then you come back home for 2 matchups against Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan. Eastern Michigan, I'm going to give to the Redhawks. I don't think that should be a very challenging matchup. Again, we'll just have to wait and see. It's a couple months away. Western Michigan, I will also give to the Redhawks. That could be a tougher matchup, but I think at the end of the day, at this point, Miami will have a little more comfort, a little more familiarity with each other on both sides of the ball. And we need to talk about going against road against Ohio on Tuesday night. I, for one, am upset about this one. The fact that it is a Tuesday night game in Athens.
I wish that was. I mean, one, I wish that was home, but two, like a Saturday 3:30 game,
right?
Or something like. Because I mean, because it's the MAC. It's not it's not nationally renowned. MAC rematch
Right.
from last year, but for the two schools, it's very big. Especially probably more for us. We want the revenge after they completely manhandled us at Ford Field.
Absolutely. It's a rivalry game. It's one of our only rivalry games because we're not playing Cincinnati this year for the first time since, 1944, 1945?
Yeah.
That's a whole separate issue. But I could see a benefit and a negative to this. The benefit is it's a Tuesday game. No other college football team is playing. Maybe it gets more TV viewers. A negative is probably for us, if we're going to go to that game, there's going to be no crowd. How do you have a hard time believing that there's going to be a strong crowd at Athens? Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But Tuesday is always in November at that is always a tough ask for opponents. And it doesn't get any better when we play Toledo at home the next Wednesday. It's a very tough schedule there.
When Maction will sneak up on you quickly, and then you have the some weird games. But crowd wise, even at Ohio, even like a Tuesday, like not putting that game on a Saturday is kind of interesting to me. I would think they put that a little earlier in the season too. I mean, I'm not the schedule guru here, but like that just screams like a good Saturday, like warm weather, like rematch. Like that's just
right. Yeah.
I mean, that may be more marketing, but they're gonna have to go out and play with the cards that they're dealt and go on a Tuesday night and win. That's what they're gonna have.
Especially at that point in the season, if they want to make it back to Detroit, that is a must-win game. They cannot. Let's assume they go 1-2 even in the first 3 games here. They cannot lose at Ohio in November. Not only will it obviously hurt their record and hurt their chance to get to Detroit, but momentum is such a big factor for action, especially where you're playing on a Tuesday night. Some of the kids were like, I really would rather play on a Saturday. I wouldn't blame them for that. Momentum is a huge part, especially as one of the last games. What is it? One of their last 4 games of the season.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see, but hopefully we can get off on a good note at Wisconsin. So transferring from football, maybe let's look at basketball. With the runner-ups last year, the MAC another close MAC championship here with basketball, and I'd say we'll start off with how the new guys gel with this team.
I was looking at the freshman recruits, and this is something that the team has done consistently well. So my freshman year, there were 5 freshman recruits. I don't know who gave them the name, but Fab 5 is what we called them. It was Ian Elmer, Jackson Katecki, Makai Cooper, Reese Potter, and Evan Ipsaro. They not only did they show out as freshmen, which is always awesome to see because you're seeing 18-year-olds really take a stab at college basketball and do a hell of a job at that. But their growth in their sophomore year, that's what got them to Cleveland. That's what got them to the MAC championship. And seeing guys like Ian Elmer, seeing guys like Makai Cooper become starters, Evan Ipsaro playing a huge role on the team is incredible to see. But all that to say is that Miami knows how to develop freshmen. So when you look at guys coming in, Justin Kirby is the name that stuck out to me, especially. I'm trying to think of another. LaShawn Stowers.
Yeah.
Um,
Trey Perry, Justin Kirby,
mhm,
Tyler Robbins, Deshaun Stowers, and then Kyle Waltz are all
yeah.
freshmen.
Travis Steele, Jonathan Holmes, that whole coaching staff, they know how to develop freshmen. And having Ian Elmer and having Evan Ipsaro, Jackson Kentucky coming back, obviously Makai Cooper and Reese Potter transferred elsewhere. But those guys that know what it's like to start as a freshman and develop and really make their mark on a team as a young player is going to be imperative for this basketball team starting in November?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll feed right off what you said. Some of the guys that transferred out, Cooper, Cam Kraft, who was one of the best shooters on this team last year, if not arguably the best. And you had all the younger guys like Luke Skaljak, Potter,
Brant Byers
like
is one of
lead,
my favorite players.
like lead this team to what almost was a March Madness berth. I mean, they were a buzzer beater away from being in the tournament. So, having those young guys be a part of that, and then, helping out a new big freshman class, I think is really imperative. And I was looking, I noticed that the shortest out of them is 6'2", and then it goes like 6'4", like 6'5", like that. They're all very athletic and they all can stretch the floor well. And I kind of compare that to like last year, Byers and Potter. Like, these tall, they're not all 7 foot, but these tall guys that can shoot and stretch the floor and really have a good role in this team, not just, smaller point guards that are more role players that they can, really step up and make a name.
Yeah. And it goes to show Miami doesn't seem like a team that seniority is going to be the end all be all. They're not just going to give the
Yeah.
starting position to a junior or a senior, even a transfer player that played 3 or 4 years at a previous our program. They're going to give it to the best man on the job, and the best man for the job might be the fresh 18-year-old who was playing in high school 8 months ago. So It really goes to show that talent is there. That's apparent to everyone that saw Miami basketball last season, one of their best seasons since 1998. So I am excited to see. Were you at Cleveland for the MAC championship?
I wasn't, but I did watch every game, and I was heartbroken.
It was shocking to see. The final 20 seconds is really what set it off. Because it looked like at halftime, it looked like they had a good chance, and I think some self-inflicted shots, maybe even some bad luck you could throw there, really gave Akron the edge in the final buzzer beater. But I have the Redhawks going back to the MAC championship, at the very least the MAC tournament. I do not see this team falling off. There's too much talent returning and too much talent that they've recruited in the offseason for them to fall off a cliff. Depending on how the rest of the MAC stacks up, and that's the best thing about the conference is that each year new teams sprout up that you would never expect. You can look at Eastern Michigan. Maybe they weren't even that big of a threat last season. They might be a top contender this year. But I am excited to see, and I want them to get back to Cleveland so bad.
Yeah. And I think another big part of that is all these new guys believing in Coach Travis Steele. And, they saw what he did with that team last year. Like I said, again, a lot of freshmen and young guys and where he took them. That they can, believe in that too. Like I'm not trying to look far into March Madness, but like what's stopping this team? If they almost went to March Madness, arguably what can this team that has more pieces, what can they do? So I'm sure all these young guys are really excited to get out there after what a good season they had last year, and continue that. Obviously, it's a little ways away, but I'm really excited for this team, and I think Miami should be too. And I mean, I'll feed off of that again. Last year, we saw the ad of the student bleachers behind the basket, and Brick Street promoting the games on Saturday to go there, and we'll still be open. So I think if that can keep building, that it'll prove for a really good environment.
Absolutely, and I think I'm excited for the basketball season start. But let's talk about that conference schedule. If you look at their third game on the schedule, and it's going to be in Millett Hall, guess who it is? It's Akron. So that home matchup, it's a rematch not only of the MAC championship, but they lost in the regular season at Akron as well. So this is going to be a very early matchup, and this is going to be their first game of 2026 as well, to really decide what trajectory are they going to go on this season. Are they going to make similar mistakes to last season where they go on a winning streak, but then they just fall short in the last couple of games? Are they going to really kick Akron in the teeth? What are they going to do? And the fact that it's in Oxford is beyond unfortunate that it's over our winter break. We can both agree on that.
I
That
was
is a
just gonna
game I
say
would
that.
want a student crowd to be at.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a big game because obviously Akron, really good team. They beat us last year, but you're at home, but you don't have the fan support like you would have, later in January.
Right.
So that's going to be a big test. It's a home game, but is it really a home game at the same time? Like it's just like not that it's a neutral site, but it may it's not going to be packed. So and then also looking at the MAC Challenge starting February 14th at home versus Ohio. That'll be, I think, a really good game. That's middle of February.
Absolutely.
And then out of that, they play Bowling Green, so a little less of an opponent, and then Toledo. So
that will
out of
be a
those
great
games,
game as well.
Yeah. So students will be there for that, which will be big. But yeah, that is the rough part about this long winter break, especially January 3rd. Not any schools back at that point, but
arguably their best or most contested conference matchup, and there's not going to be a student crowd for it unless folks stick around in Oxford for the holidays. But I sure won't. Is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it should be. Looking forward to building off. We can't have crazy expectations for the team, but what I'm looking for is that they build off of what they did last year and improve that. And if they can do that, what's stopping them? Is my kind of thought.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. I think they really should have made it to March Madness last season. For multiple reasons, they didn't. Whether it was self-inflicted, whether Akron was simply the better opponent, whether it was just plain dumb luck. I don't think any of us truly know. We can take strong guesses, I imagine. But I don't, like I said, I don't see this team falling off a cliff. I see this team continuing to build on the traditions and the legacy they already set. They lost some players to the transfer portal, but I believe the recruitment that they had, and they recruited in the transfer portal as well, that's going to fill those holes. The coaching, especially, is going to be strong. I do not see Travis Steele losing his way and forgetting how to coach. He's been able to take these freshmen the past 3 years and develop them into strong contenders on every aspect: offense, defense, range shooting, free throws. Every aspect is improved if you look at the stats for the Miami men's basketball team. So just building on that legacy.
Yeah, and then talking about locker room and stuff. We lost a guy like Cam Kraft, but kind of a big locker room guy, Evan Apsaro, is still here. And the connections that they all made last year. It was a really fun team last year. Like they had fun playing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was a fun year for the fans. They moved the game versus Kent State to the CBS broadcast, which was really fun. I mean, that was an overtime game. I assume. I think.
Yeah, that's right. That was the one that Ian Elmer came back and not only tied the game to send it to overtime in the last couple of seconds. He's one that had that block and an overtime period.
Yeah,
to give the
Miami
Redhawks the win.
It's like that. Like that's just a fun environment for Miami, and that's what they're trying to build off. Like with everything they added last year, so if they can get more of that, like this program can go really far. But time will tell. I mean, it'll be a little bit, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you are as well.
Absolutely, and I think it's a similar story, kind of a nice little segue there with the women's basketball team. So they're very similar, where you got a young, not necessarily a young coach, but a coach that's in his first couple of years here at Miami. First year here, it was kind of just testing the waters, building on the program that was already here and seeing what worked and what didn't. Second and third year, all of a sudden, women's basketball program is seeing success that they haven't seen in a long time. So getting
Yeah.
the women's basketball team to that MAC tournament, obviously it was a first round exit. I imagine there's some mistakes that they could go back to the drawing board and rework. But getting them to Cleveland in the first place is beyond impressive. And I'm excited to see what Glenn Box does with the Redhawks. You lose Angelina Gonzalez to the transfer portal, and you lose Maya Chandler to graduation. She's coming back as a graduate assistant, now as a player.
Yeah.
But similar scenario where that recruitment and the transfer portal and with the freshmen is going to do wonders for the holes that were left behind. And again, that coaching staff knows what they're doing with developing talent. It's a very similar story to the men's team.
Yeah. I was really bummed about losing Gonzalez to, transfer portal, but with the skills that she had, like I don't blame her. I mean, she was putting up really good numbers, and I wish her all the best that she can go, to a bigger school and accomplish her dreams. But obviously for us, it sucks. But yeah, you look at some new people come in, Clara Gonzalez, Planella, who's a senior coming in originally from Spain, and then some freshmen, Anna Hurst. We have Emily Van Timmeren, Mio Sacano. So do more research on these people, but hopefully they can try to come together and put up a good year. I mean, Amber Treader probably set for another great year. She had probably one of the best players on this team last year.
Absolutely. You got new faces on the roster, but similar to the men's team with Glenn Box and that coaching staff, they're here for a reason. They know where to find talent. They are very good at spotting talent, obviously with both freshmen and in the transfer portal, and they know how to develop. So they're here for a reason. They got to prove it. They got to earn their spot on the roster. It's very similar where seniority doesn't mean that much in the grand scheme of things. It's really how well can you perform, how well are you going to fit the Redhawks playing style. And just looking at that schedule, one of the games that I'm looking at is the Cincinnati game on December 3rd. I did not know they were playing at Cincinnati, and if you want your victory bell fixed, I guess you're going to have to make the trip over there.
Yeah, that I was looking at it too. That the UC game will be big. I don't know how much Miami will go to that. We'll see how much marketing and hype is around that. But starting at Coastal Carolina, coming home to play Cedarville, Oakland away, Indiana Southeast, Bellarmine, Purdue. So I mean, some of these bigger schools, it's like you just go out there and have a fighting chance. Because Miami women's basketball, it's not bad, but compared to other teams in the MAC,
Right.
Was it Ball State last year that they were really good?
Kent State was solid as well, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's the MAC is so interesting, especially for women's basketball, where there's so much competition each year, but it's shaken up each year. There isn't really a team that's going to repeat success, repeat championships. It's always going to be a new team that pops up out of nowhere. Last year, you could argue it was the Redhawks. Before that, they weren't too feared in the MAC, I don't believe. They weren't super successful just looking at their record. And all of a sudden, they're a top contending team. So it is a wonderful conference to watch, certainly.
And that's really what's fun about the MAC is you never know. And that's why MACtion it's so fun because you never know what to expect. It's always intriguing.
Yeah, I think all in all, just gearing up. Obviously, this is our first week back at class, but we're in for a fun semester of Miami athletics. I believe there's plenty of home games to watch. There are plenty of away games to watch on TV. Fans need to be showing out because that crowd support. Maybe you don't see it playing a big role as a spectator, but being on the field as a player, it makes a hell of a difference for sure.
Yeah. And I think that segues us into the closing of it with Slant Walk Sports. We're very excited to start this up. You can see our Instagram right there. You can follow that. We'll have the YouTube, and then we'll have the website up soon for all the different game recaps, etc. So, yeah, I mean, this Thursday, Camp Randall Stadium. Hopefully, the Redhawks can come in and take a hard chance and maybe a win.
We'll see, man. Like we said, we talked about that Big Ten opponent. It's going to be a tough battle, but I'm just excited for college football to be back. To tell you the
Yeah,
truth.
definitely. And with the start of this, I mean, this coming Saturday, that's when reigning champions Ohio State, Texas. It's all
That's
starting
a
back, and then
crazy game.
before you
Yeah.
before you blink, next Thursday the NFL starts. So we're getting into the swing of things with fall, and it's a good time. It's a good time to be a sports fan right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that'll do it with Slant Walk Sports. Zach Green.
And Kethan Babu.
Thank you.